I just want to let you know that you're going to see some things you don't normally get to see, and that's me getting ready. We're not quite prepped, and that is because I read I'm using somebody else's recipe today, read through it, realized I needed to make my dough for, today we're making butter chicken, gluten-free naan, and more. So the situation was that this has to rise, the naan has to rise for about 45 minutes. And we may have to put it in the refrigerator for about 15 minutes after that. So I wanted to make sure we had plenty of time, and I was running a little late with that. So wanted to be done with it by 3. It was more like 3:20 when we got done, and these things happen. So that is why we're a little bit behind today, and you get to see some of the behind the scenes of things we're putting away and getting ready, things from yesterday that got washed. So there you have it. You get to be part of that. Some things I need to put away, just make room, that kind of stuff. And I'll be using this a little bit later. And this I don't need right now, so it's going to get moved. Can you put that over there, please? Just drop it, because I need the space. So... I'm here. It says I'm here. So, who knows what's going on here? Nobody's in here yet, so it looks like you don't have to worry about it too much. Hopefully I'm here. Yeah, it says there's nobody here. You want to go get my iPad and we'll see if I can find it? Because it says I'm live. So we'll try this, see what's going on here. Things that make you go, It's going to bring my iPad. I'm going to see if I can find you. Interesting. It says the stream's bitrate is low. So, okay, let's see here. See if I can find me. Home. And then let's go to live. We'll see if I'm live. Am I live? I don't know. Am I live? Nope, it says upcoming. Or it just says, actually it says no views 3 days ago, which is odd. So, but it shows me right here. All right, I'm not sure what's going on. Okay, so there you go. I'm showing up. So I'm not sure what's going on. If there's anybody there, say hello. I don't see anybody in the chat yet. 0. I know. That's what's odd. And again, it says the stream's bitrate is lower than the recommended bitrate. And they have a recommendation, but I can't read it. So, and it doesn't say I'm live. All right, I'm not sure what's going on here, folks. So we might have to shut it down and start it up again. I'm not sure. Let me see what it says, what they recommend. If they recommend it, then we don't have anybody watching anyway. So it says we recommend that you use a stream bit rate of 6,800. So okay. IT guy's going to try some things, so we'll see what's going on. So that's okay. Just go right in front of the camera. Who cares at this point? So, all right. And I'm going to wait to cook until he's there. So we're just going to have a chat. If you're on there, I do have people on there now. I don't know what you're trying to tell me, man. So, but IT guy's working on it. If you're okay, he knows what he's done. He knows what needs to be done, at least. He understands the problem. So this is good. This is very good. So it's hilarious. I'm worried about being ready, and the stream wasn't ready. So there you go. Not sure what we can do about that, but he's looking stuff up. He's going to hopefully fix it if people are here, or if I'm lagging or whatever. Oh, all right. Apparently he's got us fixed. Apparently we're good to go. So if you're there, say hi, and we'll get moving here. Because first thing we're going to do is we're going to work on getting our butter chicken in there. So, oh, for some reason the stream was unlisted. I don't know why that happened. So if anybody, oh man, I hope people can find us anyway. Oh well, it is what it is. Okay, all right, so we've got people showing up. That's great, awesome. Sorry about the technical difficulties. Apparently it was unlisted. I don't know why. We don't usually do that. I will make sure that the rest of the week is not unlisted. So we're going to start cooking. And we're going to make this in the Instant Pot. And first thing we're going to do is we're going to pop our chicken into the Instant Pot. This one's an easy one, guys. It's got a lot of ingredients, but it's not that hard to do. So I'm looking forward to this. Now, I'm going to tell you the story because apparently it didn't get told before that I am, and just so you know, I will wash the scissors as soon as I do this. So, going into the very, very hot water, very hot soapy water. I'm going to wipe those off. And then I'm going to move them over here and rinse them off. Because I know people freak out about chicken. And so, hey, Ruby. Ruby, I'm glad you're here. Because I just want you to know that I'm sorry about how things ended yesterday and that the bot yelled at you. And we've changed it. Apparently, there was a setting on there that if you did more than, I don't know, 6 emojis or something in a certain period of time, it was going to yell at you. We've upped the number of emojis. So I wouldn't go crazy, but you can do more than you did. So anyway, we're starting off here with our chicken thighs. About 1.5 pounds. I'm going to put it in there juice and all, just because I don't want to deal with the whole rest of it. So, so in goes the 1.5 pounds of chicken thighs. Yeah, just know that's the bot. If any of that ever happens, it's not us. Okay, so now I need, again, I'm going to use a little more. Oh, well, like I said, I hate that because I was like, I even said that to IT guy. I was like, she's one of my best people. I don't want the bot yelling at her. She's just being supportive. So anyway, but it says 28 ounces of crushed tomatoes, and we're going to go with 30 because I have 2 15-ounce cans. That's just the way it's going to be. So, alrighty, get those open. But I was saying before, I looked at the naan recipe, and it has to rise for 45 minutes. And dogs heard the front door open, so they're going a little crazy. But it has to rise for 45 minutes, and then if it's still kind of sticky like it is now, it's got to go in the refrigerator for 15 minutes so I can handle it better. So I wanted to make sure that got made ahead of time so we're not all just sitting here for forever. But yeah, some days I'm like ready to go, all serene and everything else, and other days all heck breaks loose, and that's what happened today. And I was hoping to have the dough made by 3 o'clock. Didn't get it made till almost 20 after, so That's kind of how it was. That's what it felt like anyway. So we're doing our 30 ounces of tomatoes. Rinse those cans out when we're done here. Rinse my hands off now. Anybody else garden? I have to keep the pests out of my garden. Somebody suggested you put pinwheels, and the ones that go in the wind in your garden, and it has helped for all the pests except for the ones I own. He My one dog he ate one today, just destroyed it. So little stinker. All right, so yes, we could use fresh, but today we're going for the can or for the dried. We're going to use not a half teaspoon. It's a full teaspoon. My bad. So, okay, so we've got a full teaspoon of garlic powder, maybe a little more, but close. And then a teaspoon of ginger. So this is an Americanized version, I guess, because, I'm doing it this way. I'm doing it in the Instant Pot. I'm not cooking it all day. Some days you just don't want to cook all day. So, teaspoon of ginger. It says a teaspoon of salt. We're not going that high. Because, again, I don't usually use much salt in my cooking. Maybe a little, between a quarter and a half for us. And that's fine. If you want to put it all in there, I have no problem with that. As I say all the time, you do you. You season it the way you want. If there's something you don't like, you can ask me. I'll probably help you with a substitution. This is cumin. So a teaspoon of cumin. And then a teaspoon of garam masala. This is where we really deviate from the actual Indian recipe. I had a feeling that was going to be like that. So I'm going to do 2 half teaspoons. Most Indian people I know, they make their own garam masala. So they don't buy it, they make it. So just so you're aware. And then this says a half a teaspoon of cayenne. I'm going to do just a little bit less than that because, as I say all the time, I'm very white. So I'm doing... So, hi Giggles, welcome in. We're doing some Instant Pot butter chicken, and we're going to make some gluten-free naan here in a little bit. Just put my arm in butter. We're going to fix that. All right, and then I have 4 tablespoons. It's supposed to be unsalted butter. Yet another reason I didn't put much salt in. I don't have any unsalted butter right now. I used it all. I need to get some more. I'm using salted. Hopefully that doesn't make it too salty. And then, oh, guess what? I wasn't supposed to put that in yet. It's been that kind of day. Hang on, I'm going to get a bowl. Oh my goodness. Y'all, seriously. What, can you tell it's my first time making this? Oh, pray for me, people. I'm telling you. Okay. I'm going to fish all the butter back out. Thank goodness I didn't stir it yet. Okay. I'm going to make IT guy laugh. He was outside. Guess what? I put the butter in. You're not supposed to put it in until it's done. And here I am, fishing it out. So, because I'm a goober. That's okay. We all make mistakes. I tell you guys, I don't hide them. Some people would have just put the lid on even when they figured it out. So, not me. Because, we got to make our mistakes. We all got to do it. Thank goodness the chicken's all covered up. That's the other thing. Okay, there's a couple little floaty pieces of butter in there. We're not going to worry about those. So, in you go. Okay. this goes on, and we're gonna hit the poultry button. The poultry button goes for 15 minutes. That's what this says, for 15 minutes, poultry. And then we're gonna let it natural pressure release, because that is the one thing about Instant Pots, is that you do not want to let the pressure out. If you've ever worked with a pressure cooker, you don't want to let the pressure out when something's done. You want to let it natural pressure release as much as you can, because if you do it right away, particularly for, if you have sausages, it really doesn't matter. But if it's like a good piece of chicken, pork, or beef, they can be very, very tough if you let the pressure out too fast. I don't know why that is. I just know it happens. So that's doing its thing. And we're going to move that to the side a bit. I'm going to move this down here for now. Y'all, I'm going to show you something. Okay. I meant to show you yesterday and I forgot, so I put it back in the fridge. But we made the pretzels. Remember, we told you we were going to make the pretzels, and we were going to do that as a video for this week. Well, hey, Christy. We just got this ball of dough, which has no like sponginess to it at all. Yes, you are exactly right, Bearcat. Bearcat, did you go to UC? Sorry. I have 2 former Bearcats, and I live in that city. So, yeah, it does. I had to do that for something one time, and it was to the fill line, so it was very full anyway. I had to literally put a towel. Where's my towel? Like this over it, and I had to wash the towel because it was just soaked. So you don't want to do it. So anyway, that was a massive fail. Just wanted to let you guys know. Hopefully the naan goes better today. We looked at several recipes, and we picked, because it's something I'd never made before, it's kind of hard to develop your own recipe unless you try somebody else's first or you've been taught it. So I am using gluten-free on a shoestring. I'm using theirs, and well, good for you. Like I said, I have two former Bearcats. As a matter of fact, IT guy who's my moderator, he's a former Bearcat as well. So for those who don't know, the University of Cincinnati, that is their mascot, is the Bearcat. And since we're the only ones that I know of, typically if it says Bearcat, I know that they are graduated from there, or at least went there, or were part of the Bearcat Nation, as they say. So I had a digital arts and an architecture student there. So anywho, so that's doing its thing. And IT guy will make himself some rice. Mr. 513 does not like rice. Oh, here's a fun little story. I don't think I've told you guys this one. First time I ever cooked for Mr. 513, I made fried rice. Now, I knew he was kind of a meat and potatoes kind of guy, but I said, would fried rice be okay? I learned how to make fried rice from my aunt who's Vietnamese. And he's like, sure, that'll be fine. So I was like, okay. And I decided to make what we normally make, which is a ham fried rice. But then I added chicken, so it would have a little more protein to it for him. And he didn't tell me until we were dating, probably, I forget how it even came up. But I said something about rice, and he goes, yeah, I don't really like rice. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, I don't like rice. I was like, what do you mean you don't like rice? I said, you ate rice at my house? And he's like, yeah, I know. And I was like, what are you talking about? Here, the man ate fried rice at my house because he didn't want to be rude. And he didn't want to tell me he didn't like it because he didn't want me to like uninvite him to dinner. So Oh, people are funny, aren't they? So here we are, married 33 years in 9 days. And he still doesn't like rice. I still do. I don't eat it a lot, though, because of the carbs. So here's the deal. He's a good one. Yeah, it was interesting getting used to cooking for him because, and I think several of you already know this. I was married before. Big mistake, huge. But the guy I was married to before loved rice, hated noodles. This one loves noodles, doesn't like rice. What in the world? So anyway, for my sake, he sometimes eats the rice. The other thing was he said he didn't like Chinese food. I'm thinking, I can't marry this man. I love Chinese food. This was early on. So I said, so we kind of talked it through, right? And what it turned out is the only thing he'd ever really had, because he, again, was raised in a very meat and potatoes kind of household. Well, the only thing he'd ever had Chinese food wise was sweet and sour pork, I think. His mom, it was either sweet and sour pork or sweet and sour chicken. I'm like, so what else have you had? And he's like, well, that's it. I'm like, then you haven't had Chinese food. So we started playing around with things. And once I learned kind of what he liked and stuff like that, that made it a lot easier. This is cauliflower rice, by the way, so I'll get to this. But so we started working on it. Well, what I found out is, and this is another place we differ, which is funny, he really likes spicy food. I really do not like spicy food. So I said, all right, we're going for Chinese. And I said, I knew he liked beef. So I said, I want you to try either Szechuan or Hunan beef, and it'll be spicy. And he's like, looking at me like, sure it will, right? And I said, trust me on this. Please trust me. So he got the Hunan beef, and they asked him, how spicy do you want it? And I was like, you do you. I said, I wouldn't get it was like 1 to 5. I said, I wouldn't get a 5 if I were you. So he's like, all right, fine, I'll get a 3. So he got the 3, and he's like, I should have gotten a 4. But he liked it. Then I think he had tried egg drop soup and didn't really like it. And I said, and I had gotten wonton soup. He didn't really like that. So we had him try hot and sour soup. Loves it. So we did find something that he likes. So that was great. So I'm going to, normally I would cook this on my stove. I'm just going to pop this into the air fryer for a few minutes. It'll dry it out, which will be nice. But I'm also going to put I'm going to put this on the bottom, but then we're going to have some broccoli along with it. So I'm just going to put it on here. Yes, we do. We very much like and love each other. I was just saying that today, that my husband and I, we do not fight. It's not, neither one of us likes confrontation. So I know some people like to banter with people like that. That's not either one of our thing. And if it is your thing, I have a brother-in-law and sister-in-law. And I said to her one day, someday I don't want your marriage, but I want a marriage like yours. And she's like, everybody says that to me. Why does everybody say it to me like that? And I said, you and Ricky fuss about everything. And she's like, yeah. And I said, I don't want to fuss with my husband. I don't want that. I said, but I also know that if he had a partner that didn't stand up to him, because he likes to bluster. And if you had a partner that didn't stand up to you because she loves to debate, I said, neither one of you would be happy. And she's like, I never thought about it that way. I said, well, that's the truth, isn't it? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, well, that's why everybody tells you they want a marriage like yours, but they don't want yours. And those two will be married, I want to say 38 years. She was a teenager when they got married, and he was just barely not a teenager. So come on, you. I can hear you. There you go. I'm going to do this the easy way, sort of. No, I'm not. So, yeah, different kind of marriage. And my sister-in-law and I were talking about that, and she and her husband fussed a little bit. And after their first argument, he said they were engaged. And after their first, like, real big argument about something, he's like, I don't ever want to fight again. And she's like, then we're not getting married. She's like, it's going to happen. And it does, just not very often. And one of the very few arguments we were outside, and I was standing in the driveway, and my husband was standing in the in the garage, and we were yelling back and forth at each other. And my neighbor had walked out, and she just kind of stood there for a second, and then she goes, "Stop it!" She's a single woman, about 10 years younger than me, right? And she goes, "Stop it! The kids don't like it when mom and dad fight." She got us both to, that is a long time. But, she got us both to laugh, to giggling, because, the kids don't like it when you fight. So, anyway, and we were arguing over something. Yes, there are times you argue over important things, but most of the time you're arguing over things that in the long run really don't matter. They just feel like they do in the moment. So, and I think that's part of it for us. That's why we don't argue much. It's because, and somebody said that, how come you don't argue? And I said, well, when you have real life drama in your like life and death drama, it just doesn't matter. Up until my husband got a pump, like I used to say, and it's still true, I just don't worry about it as much, but up until he got his insulin pump, I used to tell people, I am very much like the wife of a police officer or a firefighter or a first responder of any kind, that when my husband walks out the door in the morning, I don't know if he's going to walk back in. And when you have that situation, because, especially before he had his pump, he didn't know when he was going to go low. He didn't know when his body was going low. And sometimes it drops like a rock. And he just is, and he doesn't know what to do. I'll be right back. So now he's got some warning. But I said, when you've got a situation like that, what are you going to fight about? What's important enough to fight about that, you're going to... We have gone to bed mad, like frustrated with each other, where we're like, we're not that don't go to bed mad at each other, because I'm like, go to bed mad at each other because you're going to get over it by the morning. And that's 99 times out of 100, that's what happens. And I don't think we've even argued 100 times. So I just put some garlic and onion on this. And I'm going to pop all these guys in the oven. Let's see here. Oh, we don't need it that hot. Let's do it for 400 for about 11 minutes. We'll see how that looks. Okay, so we're counting down on this thing finally. And we are, let's see, I'm gonna grab the naan. All right, we got about 3.5 minutes on this. It is not quite doubled in size, but it's close. I'm not sure if it's supposed to double. Let me double check here. So, okay, it says nearly doubled in volume. So we're going to go for the full 45. Now she says to refrigerate it for easier handling. We'll see. Let's see what it's like. I'll probably use my gloves again because hot hands make for sticky dough. So, you know, that's kind of it, Christy. I grew up in a family where my parents argued all the time. My husband grew up in a family where his parents never argued. So that's a really interesting thing when that's one is all you know and you hated it, and the other one, it's not what you ever saw. And I was just talking about this today. My husband said the worst thing he ever heard his father say about his mother, and I think this is hilarious, is he's the baby of 9. And when when I left my first marriage, I said I will never marry. I dated my first husband for 10 years before we got married. And hi, Zaricia, or Zarisha. I'm not sure which it is, but welcome in. So yeah, that's kind of how my in-laws were. They just couldn't be bothered to argue with one another. They would just kind of roll their eyes occasionally, but that was it. And my husband was golfing with his father, and it was about a year after my husband had moved out. Like I said I wouldn't. This was on me, not him. I said I wouldn't live with another man, or would not marry another man without living with him first, because I dated my first husband for 10 years. He was not the man I thought he was. He was very different, and that was very hard. So we moved in together, and about a year later they were golfing, and my father-in-law looks at my husband. He goes, "You know, I haven't had a decent meal since you moved out because she decided to stop cooking when you left." And I asked her about that, and she said, "Oh yeah, that's true." She's like, "You know what? I've cooked for." I'm trying to think. My husband was 26 or 27 when he moved out, and I guess 27, something like that. I don't know. Anyway, so he was about 27, and she had been cooking since before my oldest sister-in-law was born, and she's 14 years older. So it was like 44 years or something like that. She had been making dinner almost every night of the week. And she's like, "I'm done." So is it Lore or Lori? I don't know. Whichever one it is, welcome in. So yeah, that was kind of an interesting thing. I'm going to get the timer here. We'll see if we can handle the dough yet. If we can, great. I'll just have to pull up this. We'll have to kind of rearrange things so I can get the. How hot is this? Not too bad. I'm going to move that to the side. We got 9 more minutes on that. I'm going to pull this up here just in case I can work with the naan. My husband says these are the reasons I'm really good at like I played Tetris. He's like, "This is what Tetris trained you for," things like this. So anyway, I'm gonna get some gloves on in case it's really sticky, and we'll see. I think I will use the medium pan. The little one's exactly the right size, but I want to have some room so I can get in there and flip it. All righty. In case anybody wants to know, these are biodegradable, and That's why I use them, because they're biodegradable. Um, that's a thought, to do a pizza crust. I've been working on some of the future months. Oh yeah, that smells yeasty. So, we'll see. It's pretty sticky. So, I'm going to pull out just one thing of it, see if we can make it work. All right. IT guy. Probably should have put some oil on these gloves first. That's what I'm going to do. Would you please pop this into the fridge? Because it's sticky. It does say I'm supposed to flour the surface too. So let me rinse these off real quick. All right. So one of the things that we ran into yesterday with the biscuits was they were really, really, love you too, Ruby. You guys are awesome. But gluten-free flours tend to be really grainy. And that Bisquick yesterday was super grainy. And I got to tell you, that's like the second or third time I've used that gluten-free Bisquick. And it makes my stomach really bloaty. So, I mean, I'm an overweight woman, but I still know when my stomach's bloating and it's not just not just my weight. I'm well aware, you know. I said that's funny because, people like to tell you you're fat. I'm like I don't know that, you know. So we are well aware. People who are overweight are well aware they're overweight. I don't know why people think it's their job to tell us that, but yeah, this is really sticky dough. So I'm gonna see. I'm gonna play with this dough a little bit, and then hopefully once it's been in there a while. The nice thing is usually it's dry, so some of them tell you to roll it out. Some of them tell you not to. Some of them tell you to. And I've seen where like Indian ladies have, they take it and they go like this, and that's not going to work for this one for sure. So I don't even know that a rolling pin's going to work for this, to be honest. It's so soft. It doesn't really have a structure to it. So, and if you're a baker at all, you know that that's something amorphous like that can actually be a real problem. But we're going to give it a shot at this since I pulled some out. We'll see how it goes. I don't think I'm going to roll it any thinner than this because it's so mushy, I can push it. Yes, exactly. That bloating thing. And then I got up this morning and my joints ached, which will happen from some things when I eat too much grain, but also certain products will make me feel that way. And that's how I felt this morning. And I was like, this is the second time Bisquick, the gluten-free Bisquick, has done that to me. I think it will be the last time the gluten-free Bisquick does that to me. So, and then to cook these, again, I'm using the gluten-free on a shoestring. I'm using her recipe. She did say this is not the best. That's the other thing about gluten-free stuff. Certain mixes are good for certain things. I don't want to have 7, 8 flour mixes. So I do my best to find the ones that work the best. So, okay. So they say to use I forgot about that. Oh, mine's not clean. My cast iron skillet isn't clean. So we're going to use that. And we're going to put that on a medium heat. and let that warm up for a minute. It says you can use a non-stick on medium to low, or medium low, which is what I've got it on. And I'm going to need some ghee. So, hey, IT dude. They say coconut oil. Can't use coconut oil. I need the ghee out, please. It's on the left-hand side, all the way to the left. So, sorry, he was in the other room, just kind of peeked around the corner at me. So, and for those who are new here, IT guy doesn't like to be on camera at all. Voice, face, nothing. So, AI is not getting him. So. Once again, Kirkland is the brand I use. Got a new Asian market this weekend, so now I have two that I like. I'm going to tell you, if you struggle to find, like, if you like different kinds of produce, go to your local Asian market, and you will find stuff like you can't believe. It's really funny. It's really cool. I love it. It's different. I'll be using some of that tomorrow. We're going to be making the dumplings, but I'm also going to make a soup. That's I'm excited about it. We'll see how the dumpling wrappers turn out. That's going to be the big thing. If the dumpling wrappers turn out, I'm going to try to make a wonton soup. If they don't turn out, I'm going to take the wonton filling and I'm going to make meatballs. So, all right, those guys are done while that's doing it. That's not quite ready for me to pop that in there. I'm going to use the oven gloves and flip these guys around and cook them again. And hopefully by then everything will be ready to plate up. So, you know what? I am going to put that in there. Let it get started cooking. Oh, that's the Instant Pot done. Yeah, this thing's really, really tender. So we'll see how that goes. Let that do its thing. I'll turn these guys around. So I am working on lowering my cholesterol. So I will be having the cauliflower rice tonight. IT guy is fully in the rice camp, so he'll be having rice tonight. And I don't know if these turn out well, then I can pretty much tell you that Mr. 513 will be having those. Otherwise, if I know my husband, he'll just get out some bread. And there's a lot of sauce in here, and he loves just bread and sauce. It's funny that he's German because I'm like, do you know how Italian that is? To like just want bread and sauce. So, correct me if I'm wrong, Christy, right? Sauce and bread, that's a meal, right? At least I know he could make a meal out of it. He does, actually. He used to do it all the time. I would make like an open-faced roast beef or turkey or something like that. And then he would just, he would take that for lunch the next day. That would be his lunch, would just be the gravy and some bread. And he was happy. So, well, they're cooking away. It is bubbling a little bit, so I'm going to call that a triumph. It's always the taste, though, isn't it? Especially with gluten-free bread. Okay, so we were having a debate the other day. You guys can weigh in if you want. Um, there are a whole lot of people who say non bread. The word non actually means bread. So, like people have said, if you're saying non bread, you're saying bread. Uh, also, the word chai means tea. So it's like if you say chai, if you want chai tea, you're saying I want tea. So we were having this debate about whether it's proper or not to say non bread and chai tea. So, and he looked it up, and of course, there are, ha! It looks good. Now, how's it going to taste? I get all excited when it looks good, but so I think it's funny that that people do that. So that's what I did not know. I just found this out yesterday, day before. Um, I did not know that Japanese people do not drink matcha cold. There's no such thing. They don't drink green tea cold. They because it's drinks for them are supposed to be warm, or at least for the Chinese. Maybe not the Japanese, but for the Chinese, everything's warm. So I will tell you, doing these videos, I go down the rabbit hole, and I learn so much about food sometimes that kind of blows my mind. He's a little bit longer. So, yeah, apparently in China, like people drink hot water. They don't drink cold water for hydration. And I was like, that's interesting. Because I don't love stuff ice cold. My husband does. I don't. But yeah, people eat and drink a lot more for their body types too, which I find fascinating. I know, especially in Ayurveda, which is an Indian tradition, you have that situation where um, you eat for your body type. I'm going to put a little more. I'm going to put this in here because I don't have melted butter, which they suggest to put some melted butter on this. So I'm just going to melt it here in the pan. Honestly, you know what you could do if you were doing this, like if you're going to do a bunch of them, you could put some in a crock pot because ghee melts fast, really fast, because you've taken all the milk solids out of it. It's just basically the oil that's left after you melt it down. So, um, ooh, I wonder if that made it brown faster. Let's find out. Yeah. Ooh, look at that. Okay. All right. I don't know if you could see it when I was in there, but very dark. And that got dark, got much darker, much faster. So I'm going to let that sit. Hey, IT guy, if you want to get me, I'm going to take that off the heat, but I'm going to leave the heat on. If you want to get out some more dough for me, I'd love it. Sir, please don't be grainy. Please don't be grainy. We'll see. Now, the other thing you can do with this naan recipe, this is so hot, is you can, it's another one of those where you can put it in the fridge like overnight. And I'm about ready to do that with the biscuits for Friday, hopefully. All right. Ooh, hot. Mm. Okay, it needs butter. Is it sticky? Hand him the butter and a knife. Definitely needs the butter. It's still dry. As sticky as it is, when it's cooked, it's dry. That's wild. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of that ghee on there, let it sort of melt. In the meantime, flour this. Maybe it should have been a little thinner. And then yeah, it's still sticky. How it can be that wet of a dough and still taste dry when it's cooked blows my mind. Yeah, I know. Really not much of a rise, even though we had yeast in there. So it was pretty. Yeah, it is pretty. That's what makes me mad. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. Me and bread, I'm telling you, so hard to make. Gluten free, but I think I'm getting more and more used to the idea that maybe what needs to happen is that you need to really let, however long they tell you to let that dough rest, you should let it rest a lot longer. And I did see one guy who is a professional baker that said they make all their doughs before they leave the night before. Hi, Charles. They make their doughs the night before and let them sit overnight so that they can hydrate overnight. So maybe that's the secret, is a much longer hydration period than you would even think. This is way out of shape. All right, this did not go well. So we're going to pull this back together and try again. You know what? I'm going to make it kind of like a smash burger, if you will. All right, I've got the butter, ghee, whatever in there, and I'm going to smash this down. Hang on, give me a sec. I'll look at your thoughts. Turn this down. So I can try to make it less crispy, but I'm not sure that that's going to help. It's supposed to be somewhat crispy. I'm not loving it. So I think for Friday's biscuits, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make the dough for the biscuits on Thursday. I'm going to let it hydrate overnight. Okay. IT guy says it's still a little gritty. That did bubble up a little bit and rise a bit. So, but I'm going to put a little more in there just because I think that helps. That looks pretty. All right. Swirl that around. The cast iron might make a difference too, to be honest, since that's what they suggest. Ah! Okay. That's pretty well done. Oh, you want more? Wow. Okay. He said it's still a little gritty, but it's the best we've done with gluten-free bread so far. So, of course, he's a yeast dough guy, so that might have something to do with that as well. My family are not big lovers of what's the word I want? Quick breads. That's the word. So, I need a plate to put the cooked ones on real quick. Okay, so, and I will make a few more of these, especially since it's still very hot. I'm gonna pull a bit of it out there. But I think that's also maybe part of the thing is don't make it too flat, and then get it in there with the butter. And that's the thicker one back there is, turn this down a little more. I'm afraid if I go any thicker that it's gonna not cook. So, gonna, well, that was interesting. Just flat out fell apart. All right. So while that's cooking on one side, I'm gonna grab this and make another flat one here. Again, we're experimenting because it's the first time I've ever done it. So this is what happens. I might make this a little smaller. That might be the thing too, is I keep trying to make it as big as she said. And I'm thinking maybe just make it smaller. So, but it's ready to flip. So I gotta get it flipped. So, what? You want more? He's making faces. Here, well, here, take the rest of that one. Okay, I'm happy. He asked for it. So, yoo-hoo! All right. Oh, no, that is not done. That is not done. I'm putting that back on there. So, there you go. He says it looks like real naan now. I'll take that. But again, I don't think that one's done. It wasn't flat enough. So that one's I'm gonna put that to the side. We might have to put that one in the microwave to finish it off. I mean, the flavor's not bad. I kind of wish it had a little more flavor, but that's something I guess you play with, because I know a lot of people like garlic naan, and I think that would suit us well, is to have some garlic naan. I will not be putting cilantro on it, so those of you who know have the gene. So that is not a fun gene to have necessarily. I honestly thought that Mexican restaurants didn't know how to get the soap out of their dishwater, and that had to be why uh, their water always tasted like soap. Guess who found out it wasn't the soap? It was the cilantro. So, I'm putting ghee on mine. I bet butter would be better because there's that little bit of saltiness. But anyway, so, all right. So we're learning. We're learning as we go. Like I said, this is why I show you all of it, because sometimes it just doesn't go to plan. That one looks pretty good. I'm not mad about that. I also think putting a little bit of extra ghee on it helps with the they don't taste so dry when you're done. So, but that's gluten-free bread of any kind. It's just kind of you got to figure it out. You got to figure out what works. We had that with cookies. My husband made a batch of the first gluten-free batch of cookies he made. It tasted like it had sand that melted. It was bizarre. And because he wanted to make, I hadn't had cookies in a long time, and he wanted to make cookies that I could eat. And that ended up being the issue, was the fact that it was just so grainy. We're learning though. And the other thing we're learning is there are a lot of treats out there that are naturally gluten-free. And I'm already starting to work on like what we're going to make for the holidays and stuff. So I'm excited because there's some really wonderful treats out there that are just naturally gluten-free. Um, I'll have to think about it, but I might even attempt. Some people call them macaroons, some call them macarons. The ones that are French is what I'm talking about. I might attempt a batch of those, but those take a couple of hours to make. So we would have to figure out what we're doing there in the meantime while we're waiting for them to dry out or whatever, if I was going to make those live. So it's funny because they've always been my favorite confection, essentially. I've always loved them even before I was gluten-free. So that's kind of interesting, right? And then there are amaretti cookies, which I had for the first time. Yes, when I bake, Christy, I put the amount they tell me to, especially the first time. So yes, I did actually put the amount of salt that was called for. If anything, I think no, that was this that I put the salted butter in. So yeah, my husband and I have arguments about that because when he makes his cookies, he doesn't put any salt in his cookies. And I'm like, you're supposed to put the salt in. So he's like, I don't need it. Yes, you do. So yeah, there's that going on in our house. Okay, that needs a couple more seconds and then we'll flip it over. But yeah, so I'm also going to make some truffles. I think what else I got. Oh, there's this one cake, and it's the coolest looking cake. I don't know how long it takes to make either. It might be one of those things where it's like I might just do a really long live that day because it's called a kranskaka, which sounds terrible, right? But it is a tiered, they call it a cake, but it's almost like a dough, and it's circles. And I actually have the form for it because I made it on the Great British Bake Off once. And each circle gets smaller, and there's like 7 of them. And then you stack them and you decorate them, and they are beautiful. And so, yeah, I'm super excited. No, not like that. No, they are, sorry, he's showing me my biscuit cutters. No, it's actually like, it's a round, almost looks like a little tire, but it's got a divot in it. It's really cool. Okay, how's that looking? It still needs a few more seconds. We're almost done. So, and then we'll plate up. So I've got this one. I've got the one in there, this one, and one more, and we're done. So, but yeah, this has definitely gone the best so far. I'll tell you what I'd really like to make, and it is, I think it is something that proofs overnight. I want to make a focaccia. I have seen the most beautiful focaccias made on Bake Off and on other shows where they make like beautiful pictures with herbs and olives and tomatoes, and oh my god, it's just gorgeous. So I want to try that one of these days. And because I do this now, this encourages me to actually do those things. It's like, will it or won't it? The good news is it's like a real life bake off. Or the bad news is it's like a real life bake off. Maybe, I don't know what the bad news is, but I don't have to get judged by Paul Hollywood. That's the good news for me. Good news for you is if I mess it up, you're going to see it. It's okay. And I'm not doing it, I mean, I'm doing it on YouTube, but um, yeah, it was a really soft dough. And maybe that's the thing is she uses Better Batters original. And she actually has her own blend that she uses. She says Bob's Red Mill should work. And she actually does not recommend the brand of flour that I have, but that's all I had. So sometimes you use what you got, especially when with as expensive as gluten-free flour is, right? So anyway, last one going on here. This one's a small one. Drop this in the, and we'll be done here in a minute. We'll plate up, see what we've got. Might flip that back up to 6. I think 4 is a little too tired for it. It is warm in here, and I do have I've got my fan going. Or do I? Oh, I think it went off. No wonder I'm dying. There we go. All right. This way, since I dropped it. Oh, the dogs are going to have a heyday. There's flour and stuff all over the floor. And they love it when it gets like that. Ooh, please don't be overcooked. It's not. Hooray. Okay. Add a little more. I know it gets tedious when we get to about number 6, doesn't it? So I can put this away now. Start getting things out of the way. I'm going to grab a bowl while that's cooking real quick. Actually, I'll grab a plate. I'm going to plate it up, not bowl it up. So. Hey, IT guy, I'm going to need one more thing from you, babe. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, that one looks good. Okay, that's the top. There's the bottom. I'm not mad about that one at all. Okay. I even got a little applause from IT guy. I need 3/4 of a 3/4. Where's my butter chicken? 2/3 of a cup of the fat-free half and half. It says heavy cream. I don't have it, so yeah, I'm not mad at all about. They're looking okay. I do think next time I would do garlic, which just means have garlic butter ready when it comes out, and then you put the garlic butter on there. So I would refrigerate the dough a little bit longer so it was a little bit easier to work with. Lessons learned. Again, it's the first time I've done it, so I'm not mad at myself because it's not like, some of you I know, that's true. It did have rest time. But I don't know, for those of you who cook, I think you know that if it's something you're trying for the first time, you don't get so bent out of shape when you mess it up. But no, the fat-free half and half right there on the door. At least I don't get bent out of shape if it's the first time I've ever made something and I don't really know how to make it, that kind of thing. But if it's something you make all the time and you mess it up, you're like, what in the world have I done? So I've had that happen a couple of times. I had it happen one time with I used to make a challah bread every year during the holidays, and 2/3. Oh, challah. Okay, gotcha. Um, and one year it just didn't turn out, and I was like, "What is wrong with this stuff?" Well, turns out what was wrong with it was the fact that my yeast was dead, and it was dense, and it was not good. And you know, when you put 2 hours into a bread, and that's what you're left with, it's a little annoying. So yes, I was annoyed by that. So okay, and then I don't put this has to saute for about 5 minutes. I don't know if we're gonna make it that long, but all right. So I'm gonna add a little more butter to the pan because this really, I think this really is the best way to for this particular batch. It may not be the same for every batch, but for this batch, to get a little bit of extra butter on it, do that. Put a little extra here, and it just adds some moisture to it. Ooh, that one looks really good. All right, turn that off because. And I do think the thing is, I mean, you know, as somebody from the U.S., we're so used to our butter being salty, and this isn't. You know, the ghee is not salty, so I'll flip this one more time. Try to get a little more butter on it. I think that's gonna do it for us. I'm gonna put this over here. For my first attempt at naan, I am not mad. So, all right, putting all my stuff in the sink. Trying to get this stuff out of the way so I can plate it up and y'all can see what I've got. Okay. We're just doing this to thicken up the sauce a little bit. I'm going to put this to the side. I'm just going to put it over on my stove real quick so it can cool down. I don't want to warp the pan. So I'll put this guy, you know what? I'll leave that here for me. We were talking about this table. I've told you all there's tile underneath this table cover, and but they didn't seal the tile, so it's bumpy and stuff gets in all of the crevices, and it looks terrible. And so we were talking about it, and I said I would love to have like a marble slab, just a big old marble slab on top. But we also would like to replace the base because it's a cabinet, and that's not what's meant. And there are places where you can get like um, sounds like, yeah, there's places you can get like sliders that come out that if they were big drawers that we could get into instead of having to like practically get on the floor to get back to things. So, but again, you know, I don't know about you, but I don't have unlimited financial resources. If I did, I might not even live here. So if they were unlimited, we would be somewhere else, and I would have a much more a kitchen that's much more amenable. So okay, that's thickened up a bit. I think we can turn that off, and we're going to add our cream in. Or again, this won't be quite as uh, thick as some because it's not heavy cream. I use fat-free half and half instead. I'm going to grab out for me, some cauliflower rice. Move that over here. It's over here. These guys can come off now. Hooray! My hands are like, we're free. All right. We will get a little cauliflower rice here. Nice and warm. It does look fluffy. That's funny. Looks kind of fluffy. Okay, I say that word. Reminds me of my middle son. He used to talk like Stitch, and he would say, "It's so fluffy." I can't do it right, but he can. The broccoli is just because I like broccoli. I don't know that it's traditional. I've seen it with butter chicken. Okay, and there's one piece of chicken. See if I can find the other piece that just fell off. It's smaller. Maybe not. Ah, there it is. Okay. And then I'm going to get a nice scoop of sauce. As my husband says, it's all about the sauce. So, all right. Trying to think if I can move this. Can you guys see the plate? I'm just curious if you can see it. Somebody can just tell me if the plate is in view. And if it's not, that's fine. So, but we're going to give it a try here. Okay, chicken first. Very hot. Hot. But wow. That is so tender. I'm glad I didn't put any more cayenne in than that. Thank you for letting me know that that's in play. And then I'm going to take a little bit of the naan and just get some of the sauce on there. Because I know that's how a lot of people just eat it. Just grab the naan and put everything on the naan. Okay, y'all, that's good. That's really, really good. So here's what I would say. With the naan, make sure you use the blends that they call for when you're looking at the breads. I'm really finding that to be the thing. And if you can find somebody who uses the same, there's somebody called Gluten Free Jules. I have her flour, but it's really expensive. There's also Bob's Red Mill, and they have a lot of recipes on their website. King Arthur does too. And if there's somebody who uses a certain kind of flour, that's really a good way to do it. This does have a little kick to it, I think, from the garam masala probably. So, but just remember, I'm as Northern European as they come, so I'm a baby about spice. If you like spicy, this might not be enough for you. But I would 100% make this butter chicken again. So easy. Just throw it all in there, put the butter and the cream in at the end, and you've got it. Serve it with whatever you want, whether it's the rice and the broccoli. You got to play with the bread recipes. You just do. I think the longer you can prove something, the better off you're going to be when it comes to gluten-free breads. That's really what I'm learning as I do more and more of these. And I think I gave up a little early on them, to be 100% truthful, because it just seemed like too much. So anyway, now that I'm learning a little better, that's where we are. Tomorrow we're going to do dumplings. And like I said, I've got a mix for that from a company that's, it's in Ohio. They're at the other corner of Ohio, so they're about 400 miles away, but there's a couple local places that carry their stuff. So I'm excited about that. So we're going to make some dumplings with that. If that goes well and we can make those into pot stickers, then I'm going to also make some dumplings and make a wonton soup. If the dumpling wrappers don't go well, I will make like a an Asian soup that is, I'll just have meatballs in it instead. I'll use the wonton filling type flavor, but with meatballs. So we'll be doing that. Maybe something else. Who knows? You know how it goes with me. But anyway, I just want to wrap it up. We're awful late today. So um, thanks for being here. Thanks to everybody who commented and gave me all these suggestions. I appreciate it. And we'll keep going at it. Like I said, dumplings tomorrow and then biscuits on Friday. And we're gonna get a little healthier next week because I need to give my system a break. So we're gonna go with a little lighter fare next week. But anyway, we will see you tomorrow for dumplings and soup. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks for being here, and thanks, Christy. It's always my pleasure to host. We'll see you guys. Love you all. Eat well, be well, and I love you.